the last session. Yeah, we were going with this topic, hierarchy of SQL Server in a machine. In that, we have discussed that we have got three types of, instances we discussed. We got two types of instance, default instance and named instance. Every instance will have one name, I said. For default instance, this is the name, MS SQL Server. And for named instances, you can provide any of your choice names. Server name will be local system name because we are talking about local installation. And folders will be created, I said. If it is MS SQL folder, then you have to understand that it is going to contain database server. MSRS will contain reporting server. MSAS will contain analysis server. Right? So those are the folder names. If it is default instance, you'll have name of the instance to that folder. If it is named instance, you'll have named instance beside that folder. Okay. And then I said, like, you'll have 32,767 databases in one instance. And database contains something called schema, and schema works like a folder, I said. Schema works like a folder, right? Schema provides something you can call as easy maintenance. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, importance of schema we are learning. Say this is one team now. This is one team. Okay. Yeah, let me call this as team. That too, it is development team. Okay. This team has one developer. Second developer. Third. Fourth. So we got 4 developers now. They make one team. Developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, developer 4. 4 developers. Developer 3, developer 4. Now, since they all make one team, so obviously they work on one database only. Okay. This is one database. Yeah. All developers are going to work on same database. He works on this database. Developer 2 also works on the same database. Developer 3 also works on the same database. Developer 4 also works on the same database. All works on same database. Now, interesting thing is, if they all are going to keep, okay, what it is, I'll write here. This is database. Okay. And if in this database, assume you have one schema in this. So it is one small block which is available. So let me call this as schema. Schema. Now, something interesting in this is if all developers store their content in the same schema, if all developers store their content in what? Same schema, then we have a problem. Problem in what? Maintenance. Problem in what? Maintenance. So what is best then? Instead of keeping all in one, it is better I do like this. What? Create one schema. Create one schema for developer one. Yes. Second schema. Second schema. Third schema. Fourth schema. So I'll call like this. Schema 1. Schema 2. Schema 3. Schema 4. 4 schemas. Schema 1. Schema 2. Schema 3. Schema 4. And all these, now there is no internal separate schema now. Every developer has got his own schema. So developer 1 will keep this content into his schema. Developer 2 will store his content in his own schema. Developer 3 will keep the content in his own schema. And developer 4 will keep the content in his own schema. Yes. 4 schemas. And whatever developer 1 does, that will be stored in schema 1. Whatever developer 2 does, that will be in schema 2. Then same way 3 and then 4. Why? Why you want so? For easy maintenance. Easy maintenance. So that things will not collide. Whatever developer 1 creates, that may not collide with the developer 2 things. Whatever developer 2 does, that will not collide with developer 3. You understand? Like, so that, the work can be segregated. The work can be easily maintained. You understand? There are a number of reasons, but this is how things work for the creation of what? Schema. 4 developers, 4 schemas. And all schemas are going to be managed by what? Database. Database. 4 developers, 4 schemas. Right? What lot of benefits are there in even maintaining like this, right? You understood, Bharat, what exactly I have tried to come up about this schema? This is a regular practice. This is regular process that in every company where they use SQL Server as database or any database they use as backend. This is routine and the best practice, best way to maintain, database information. Instead of keeping all in one, it is better you segregate and keep so that could be easily maintained. Okay, Bharat, did you get this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Yeah. Now, in schema, you will have objects. So how many objects? 32,767 objects. That object list I gave. Tables, views, synonym, sequences, indices, constraints, procedures, functions, triggers, etc. These all are called objects. Objects. Where are they? Part of schema. And then I maintain with 4 sentences. OS is collection of instances. Instance is collection of databases. Database is collection of schemas. Schema is collection of objects. Schema is collection of what? Objects. Yes, objects list I gave. Okay, this is your hierarchy of what? SQL Server. Next. Next. Introduction to SQL. And how you define SQL, I've mentioned it. It is a language used to communicate with what? Database. That is the definition. Definition is not about describing the word. Definition is about explaining the meaning of what SQL. Now it is clearly specified that SQL is one of the languages that is used to communicate with what? Database. And what did you see is initially communication to database was maintained through one language called Square. Square. That was first language introduced. First language introduced to communicate with what? Database. Specifications of query as relational expressions. But when they introduced the Square language, they found n number of disadvantages with Square language, n number of drawbacks. In the drawbacks, one drawback was like, all the commands were represented by symbols, right? There were no proper syntaxes. There were no proper syntaxes. There were no proper compilation techniques. So those all drawbacks they have overcome by modifying Square language and introduced a new language called SQL, Structured English Query Language. SQL. From here, from SQL, we started communicating with database in English. And this SQL has been renamed to SQL, that is called Structured Query Language. Okay. And another interesting thing, that is a kind of, you can say, history of SQL, how SQL word has come into usage. That is what I said last month. SQL is actually the name given to a language. And from that SQL, they have renamed it to a word called what? SQL. And one more interesting thing is SQL is actually a product of IBM. It is IBM's product. IBM has developed SQL. And later that SQL has been used by different companies and they made SQL available in their products according to their standards. I gave an example, you see. SQL, when developed by IBM, these all companies, Microsoft, Oracle Corporation, Sun Microsystems, Teradata Company, Sybase International, these all companies approached IBM, and they purchased rights from IBM. They purchased what? Rights from IBM. So that IBM's developed SQL languages, they can use in their products. See, when I say that they purchase rights, which means they can make changes in that language. So they purchased SQL language of IBM, they made necessary changes in that, and they have applied it. They have applied. Same thing. Again, they found some more changes, they made the changes, right? And then they applied those changes onto the same database. Okay. And now with that, you can see SQL has become part of every database software. You can see the list there. SQL is a part of Oracle. SQL has become a part of SQL Server. SQL has become a part of MySQL. SQL has become a part of Sybase. Even SQL has become a part of Teradata company. Now with this we come to a conclusion. What is the conclusion? SQL, it's not that it is available only in SQL Server. No. SQL is available in all database softwares. All database softwares. If you ask me, I would say like this. If you completely learn SQL in one database software, in one database software, it's enough for us to understand that same SQL is available in all database softwares. Minor changes. Okay, and what else I said now? So now if you learn SQL thoroughly in one database software, which means you're done with SQL in all database software. You don't need to again learn separately SQL in Oracle, SQL in MySQL. 90% of the content will be same. 10% maybe minor changes maybe there in the syntax. Minor changes. So in that way, companies always prefer, they say like knowledge of SQL compulsory. Knowledge of SQL compulsory. They are not saying knowledge of SQL in SQL server. No. They are not saying that. They need knowledge of SQL compulsory. Any SQL, fine. Any SQL, but SQL is required. Common. That's what I mentioned. SQL is called common database language. Why? Since it gets understood by every RDBMS. That is the reason it is called what? Common database language. It is also called non-procedural language, command-based language, syntax-based language, most important, case-insensitive language. Yeah, any way you write, database understands it. Uppercase, lowercase, mixed characters. And now remember, the way I listed sub-languages, the way I listed DQL, DML, TCL, DDL, DCL, same sequence we are all going to learn. Same sequence I follow. Same sequence I follow when we learn SQL language. Same pattern, same sequence. And among all these, among all these commands, this is the only one which is lengthy. This one. Very lengthy it is. This itself will take around 3.5 weeks, or almost you can say like 4 weeks. So you can call like this. It's almost like you can say 4 weeks. How many? 4 weeks. Only select. And remaining all are there, na? Remaining all. Hardly, they all will be completed in just 10 days. 10 days. Yeah, that's simple to learn. Syntax-based, that logical. But maximum interview questions will be on this part only. On this part, select a command. Maximum. They test your logical skills of SQL through select command only. They know very well that remaining all are about just syntax-based. They just are about what? Syntax-based. They won't waste much time on it. But remember one thing. I am going to follow same sequence. I'm saying same sequence here. Exactly same sequence. DQL, DML, same pattern I'm going to teach you. Same pattern. Yeah. Anything is there, Bharat, in this which you want to clarify? Any point which is confusing you in this?
No, sir.
Comfortable? Understood all the points?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Now, going forward, this is the directory structure of SQL. Means after installation of SQL Server, these are the folders that are created. Means at this stage, since we are not aware of the practicals of SQL Server, definitely you may have little confusion to understand them. So best I would say, whenever we start our practicals on the day, I'll explain you this. Practicals when I start on the day, I will explain you. Right? But to just get an overview, you can find that these are the folders I'm saying. /backup, /bin, /data, /ft data, /install, /jobs, /log, /repl data. These are the folders. Where they are available? In MS SQL folder, they are available. Here, in this folder. Here, in this folder, you have all these subfolders. Every folder is going to have a unique importance. Every folder is going to provide a unique importance. You understand? What is that importance? You'll experience as and when we progress. Okay? And now, before I go further, one more point also I'll explain. Open. These are the tools that are available. Tools. One tool is there that is provided by SQL Server that is called configuration tool. Configuration tool. How do you open this? Like this. Start run. SQL Server Manager 12.msc. That is a folder. Just 1 second, Bharat. 1 second. Yeah. So this tool gets opened with this shortcut like SQL Server Manager 12.msc. Okay. Yes. Now tool gets opened. Yes. And you can see here configuration manager. This will show you all the services related with SQL Server. It will make a list now. Yes. All you see, all are SQL Server services. Server 1, server 3, server and default instance. Everything. Some are running, some are stopped. This is one tool. What is the tool called? Configuration Manager. What it will do, I mentioned some points. It will manage start and stop of SQL Server services. It provides something called startup parameters. It provides network configuration. It will support you to change service. We don't know, just saying you. These are the facilities that configuration tool will provide. Acha. Next to me said like monitoring tools. In that you got what? Management Studio. Yes. Then you have activity monitor. Then you have system stored procedures. Yes. Then dynamic management views, DMVs. One more is there. I didn't write there. DMFs you call. dynamic management functions. Then we have something called dashboard reports, etc. Yes, these are called monitoring tools. There are some command line utilities. There is something called SQL CMD, one command line utility. There is something called BCP, called bulk copy program. Definitely, depending on the topic that we come across in my coming classes, I'll get back to you on each of those tools so that you also get a clear picture and working process of those tools. SQL Server Profiler, Database Engine Tuning Advisor, Upgrade Advisor, third-party tools. These all are other tools provided by SQL Server. These all are tools you can call. Yeah. And the most important is Management Studio that will provide a detailed explanation about your, tool, Management Studio. And how it will come into how it has come into existence. That is what I have covered here. Here. I'll just show you that. But history, how Management Studio has come into usage. Here. Can you see this? This is the story of Management Studio. Management Studio has come into usage from 2005, SQL Server 2005. Before to SQL Server 2005, when we used to work with SQL Server 2000, we were provided by two different tools. Name of one tool was Query Analyzer and Enterprise Manager. Two separate tools. One was CUI, one was GUI. Character User Interface, Graphical User Interface. And from then you can see the two separate tools, they have clubbed into a single tool. Yeah. CUI, GUI. Character User Interface, Graphical User Interface. And then you find SQL Server 2005 introduced with Management Studio for the very first time. And at that time, in order to enter into the tool, we used to have an application called SQLWB. Like this, we used to say start run SQLWB. We used to write like this to open the Management Studio in 2005. Later, from 2008, they have changed this to SSMS. Instead of writing SQLWB, they changed to what? SSMS. So that it could be easy for a person to remember that he's trying to open Management Studio. Yeah, that was called SQL Workbench. And from that time only, we used to have Object Explorer and Query Editor. Two sub-tools we call. Sub-tools. How would you do? Yeah, open. SSMS. Open the tool. Yeah. Open. First, connect to server. I'll explain this picture. This window is this window. Detail I'll explain. Next part I'll cover. Connect. Now, first, this is Object Explorer. That is what I was saying. Object Explorer here. Same thing. Object Explorer. One more I said. Query Editor. Yeah, open now. Query Editor. New query. Yes. This is Query Editor. Object Explorer, Query Editor. To open Query Editor, Control N. To open Object Explorer, F8. I'm pressing function key called F8. Object Explorer. Yeah. And to open one more window, Control N. One more window is open. And this window which is open, this window, you call by different names. You call this as Query Editor. Agreed. Query editor. Yeah. Or you can call, or you can call this window, which is open now. You can call this as script window, script window, or technical word. You call this window as session. And every session will have one unique ID, 54 unique ID, 55, one more unique ID. That is called session process ID. Different expansions here, session process ID, server process ID. But the point that you need to understand, why it started from 54? Then what is the story of 1 to 53? Where is 1? Where is 2? Where is 3? Where is 4? Where is 53? Why it started from 54? This is what you learn. 1 to 53 are your background processes, background sessions. They are still working for us, though they are not visible. They are called background session. What is visible for you is your foreground session. Yes. Background processes. Also, already some background processes are going on. That background processes are going on with session IDs as 1 to 53. Now you open the tool for the very first time. So you have been allotted with 54 as session ID. Session ID, server process. Okay, is it how many windows you open? Yeah, already you open one here, 54, 55. Can I open one more? Yeah, open Control N. Yes, 56. Control N, 58. Control N, 57. Whatever the number. Yeah, then 57. Can you see here? 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. Control N again. Control N. 59. How many you open? No limit, no limit. Unlimited. Unlimited sessions. Unlimited. If you are interested, you can limit them. Like you want to open only 5 sessions. Yeah, that you can do. But when you don't mention anything, then 100% by default, you are provided to open unlimited sessions. Yes. Yes. This is the story of Management Studio, this complete process. Can you see here? Subtools, query editor, CUI, Control N to open query editor, F8 to open object explorer. Query editor is called session. Unlimited sessions you can open. Every session will have session ID. That numbers you have seen, 54, 55, 56. Those are called session IDs. Query editor, I said one more also. I just missed it to write. I'll write here. You also call this as script window. Script window. Query editor, also called script window. Yes. I'll write, mention here, script window. Yes. Because you're going to write script in it. Script is, that may be script, can be anything. It may be a query. It may be a command. It may be a program. Script window. Query editor also called script window. It's all about typing. And I won't recommend, never do any process with Object Explorer. Even if you want to get list of tables, or if you want to store data, you want to delete data, you want to update data, never make practice of GUI. Interviews with GUI will not help you. You have to make yourself comfortable practicing only on CUI. You understand? That is how Management Studio has come into usage. And benefits I gave here. 2008, SQL Server 2008, when new features were added. These were the features: multi-server query, query editor regions, object explorer enhancements, activity monitor. These are all new features that are introduced from SQL Server 2008. From SQL Server 2008. New features that are introduced in Management Studio. That are introduced in what? Management Studio. Okay, Bharat. Is this clear, Bharat, for you? Did you understand?
Okay, sir.
Clear? Following?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Right. So next class, I'll explain you how do you make a